Ancient Egypt captures our imagination because of its grandeur. Its stone monuments seem almost timeless, perhaps a reflection of the spiritual wisdom of people from this ancient culture who had tapped into a mystical spiritual reality.
All mysticism teaches that finite human beings can directly experience the infinite spiritual world. This was an indisputable fact for Egyptians living thousands of years ago in the Nile Valley. One remarkable fact stands out about the cultures that lived and prospered along this mighty river and its fertile banks. The farther back we look, the more skilled and wise they seem. The greatest of their architectural achievements, such as the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, come from the most distant past. The most profound insights of their mystical teachings also seem to come from this very early period, thousands of years ago. A connection with our modern world was described in the early part of the 20th century by the American clairvoyant Edgar Cayce. Using his intuitive perceptions to interpret aspects of ancient Egyptian life, Cayce described a civilization of sophisticated religious understanding. Although the hieroglyphic records seem to indicate a society with dozens of gods and goddesses, closer study reveals that the ancient Egyptians knew of a single creative source for all life. This teaching of oneness lives at the heart of all mysticism, and the Egyptians were among the first to understand it. Edgar Cayce's clairvoyant view of ancient Egypt also describes an advanced practice of spiritual initiation. The Egyptian Book of the Dead was not only instruction to help a dying soul pass through to the afterlife, it was also a mystical roadmap to the spiritual realm for those making such a journey many years before physical death. Cayce even described the Great Pyramid as a place for spiritual initiation, where John the Baptist and Jesus of Nazareth came as young men to be schooled in this ancient wisdom and to experience a mystical inner voyage. In fact, ancient Egyptian mysticism foreshadows many teachings of Christianity, including the theme of death and resurrection. This intriguing era of human history may well hold even more undiscovered clues about human soul development and our place in the universe.
Mystical beliefs about a spiritual world and immortality for the human soul have their roots in the principle of interconnectivity and the oneness of all life. Seeing the world in this way may help us better understand the spirituality of the ancient Egyptians. We spoke with one Egyptologist, a man who grew up next door to the Sphinx, about this ancient view of unity.
The ancient Egyptians worshipped many gods, and actually there's a whole number of gods, they have been mentioned. But above all these, we have a supreme God. The first recorded man in human history to talk about the concept of one God is Akhenaten. Akhenaten, this king of the 18th dynasty, 140 years before Moses, 1400 years before Christ, he is the first documented man in the entire human history to talk about the concept of one God. The ancient Egyptian knew spiritually more than us. They were very advanced, and I think the ancient Egyptian knew the secret of the soul. They were closer to God than we are, but when they really went in their technology, they started to go far away from God. It was their time for them to go. And as Edgar Cayce said, this happened because of the misuse of natural laws. Unfortunately, when really people started to go away from each other, do not really know God, they really started to be selfish, then there was no harmony, there was no love, and the society started to become loose and everybody really go different direction, and that's what really ended the civilization. You see what's going on right now? All these broken families, all these wars we have, all these people do not really love each other. So the people are not really in touch with themselves. The people are not really spiritual. And this is really an alerting light for us, that if we do not love one another, if we do not really care about each other, if we do not live in harmony, this will be our future, exactly like what happened in ancient Egypt, what happened in Atlantis, or whatever.